Let's take a second to imagine that you're presenting a design or prototype to your development team. Everything is going well until a developer brings up a scenario that wasn't accounted for in the requirements. And that leads to your product owner bringing up another hypothetical scenario that you don't think will happen, but now the critique is off the rails as more team members start to play devil's advocate. A lot of times these scenarios are based on pseudo-evidence, which is a statement of how a scenario might occur. For example, if you introduce a design in a meeting and a team member says, "We should include this button in the main navigation because people aren't going to want to hunt for it." This is an example of pseudo-evidence. This statement is using evidence by illustration. The scenario is hypothetical and hasn't been tested with actual users. Now, the fact that it's brought up isn't a bad thing, but it's easy for this feedback to become unhelpful when you have a bunch of scenarios being thrown your way at once. A lot of times this happens because people want to make sure their ideas are heard and accounted for. So one way I like to deal with this is to pause the critique and collect all the potential scenarios that could come up in the moment. Give each person 5 minutes to individually capture all the hypothetical scenarios that are dancing around in their brains, either on sticky notes or in a digital whiteboarding tool. After those 5 minutes are up, go through a speed round of sharing each scenario so that it can be documented. Then you'll want to prioritize each scenario based on how likely it is to occur, the user or the persona targeted, and/or the business objective it meets. You can do this as a group, but I recommend taking all the scenarios back and prioritizing that list yourself, then validating with your team and stakeholders after that initial pass. Your goal isn't to try to design for every scenario, but focus on 1 to 3 manageable and realistic scenarios. This gives you a good balance of making sure that everyone feels heard, while also being realistic about solving for scenarios that are the most likely to occur.